Okay, I am doing my project on Leonardo da Vinci. There we go. Okay, so on the left, we have a portrait of Leonardo da Vinci. Researchers don't think it was painted by him, but it was completed in 1505. And the one on the right is like a confirmed self-portrait, and it was completed in 1512, which is about 7 years before his death. Growing up, he grew up in the town of Vinci. Um, Leonardo, for his first, for the first like 2/3 of his life, he lived in mainly three places. So he lived in Vinci, which you can see here is like a small Italian town in like the Tuscany region of Italy. Next, he lived in Florence, Italy. This is where he was an apprentice and he painted his first painting like by himself. Um, and next, he lived in Milan. He lived in Milan for about 17 years, and this is where he did works such as the Mona Lisa. Um, for all of these, obviously, I cannot get pictures of like 1400s, 1500s Italian towns, cities. So this is modern day, but the point still stands. Um, After Milan, he moved around a lot. So he spent a few months in Venice, spent a few months in Rome. He lived in Pope Leo's summer house in Rome. He went to France for a while, and he died in France in 1519. So after the first three places, he really moved around a lot. Everyone knows Leonardo da Vinci, though, to be an artist. And on the right, I have picked three of like his most notable or famous works. So we have the Annunciation, which is completed in 1476, not 1676. We have Virgin of the Rocks. We have a horse statue he was commissioned to do. We have the Last Supper, and then we have the Mona Lisa. These are like the times they were started and completed, except the Mona Lisa. It was started in 1503, and you'll see there's a tilde because he never thought it was finished. He brought it with him up until his death everywhere he went, and he just added little touches to it. So even by today's standards, it's not a completed painting, technically. And here is the like artworks that he made. So this is the Annunciation. This one's notable because it was his first like solo piece of artwork. Next is Virgin of the Rocks, The Last Supper, which was painted. It was painted in like a Florence monastery on like a wall kind of ceiling area, but he used a new technique. So frescoes are supposed to be tempera paint on wet plaster, but he used oil paints on dry plaster. And he thought it would work out fine, but it started chipping even within his lifetime. So there's not really much of the original paint left. They think it's about 20%. There's been attempts to restore it, like in the 1700s, there was an attempt, but it just damaged it more. And then in the 1990s, we did successfully restore some of it with like our technology, but it's never gonna look how it looked in like 1450s. And next we have the Mona Lisa. I'm going to exit the presentation though to just show you like a better glimpse as to what they look like because the pictures were kind of small. So this is the Last Supper. This is the one he painted on the monastery that's like pretty chipping. You can see like there's Jesus and there's everyone else. And then this is the Annunciation, the first one that he painted. Next, we have the statue, the bronze horse. This was a commission from the Sforza family in Milan. But it never got completed because in 1499 Milan was invaded by the French. So he had a clay like model mold because bronze is super expensive, so you use clay to like cut down on like the cost. And 5 years before 1499, so 1494, he said, "Oh, the French are coming," so he gave all of his bronze to like the war effort. So this stayed a clay mold for years, and then it was destroyed by the French archers in 1499 because they used it for target practice. Now, Leonardo da Vinci is mainly known for his art, but he was also a scientist, like an engineer, and he didn't just do one like branch, he studied all subjects. So here's three that I picked. He did landslides and rock formations, flight, and war machines. So here's pictures of some of the flight work, like sketches he did. He did most of his research by watching birds and bats fly. Um, there's a codex, which is what we call his like collection of notes and notebooks. And it's just about birds. It's about 20 pages, and it was instrumental in the creation of airplanes. So this is what like the Wright brothers, who made modern airplanes, would have been looking at. It really like helped them progress without them having to do their own research, and it probably gave us the airplanes that we have today. So we can thank Leonardo da Vinci for that. Next, we have war machines. On the left is like a giant crossbow, and on the right is like a primitive version of a tank. None of these were ever made, but I like the tank on the right. We have tanks nowadays, and it really helps them like if they would have had it, it would have really helped them like envision it. But unfortunately, most of his notes were lost at the time, and we've just been recently finding them. Finally, we have pictures of his landscapes and rock formations. Now, this isn't like as scientific and helpful in the time that he was alive, but studying these landscapes and rock formations really helped him in painting his pictures because you can see some of these landscapes in the backgrounds of his pictures. And that's mainly what the one on the left is for. The one on the right is cooler, though, at least in my opinion, because it depicts a rock fall. And, that's just something cool. It really helped the field. It would have really helped the field of geology if they would have had the notes. But unfortunately, like I said, they didn't have many of the notes. And this is all of my presentation.